Purim, kedגם, גאולתנו. Purim is the model for our redemption. We live in a very special generation, a very special time, in the early stages of the complete redemption. Purim is a model, is the model, I should say, of the path that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will save the Jewish people. When we look at the Purim itself carefully, we can draw out from it many foundational principles for the redemption of the Jewish people. From Purim itself, we see, first of all, the redemption comes kima'kima'ah, little by little. It's not something quick. We also see that the Geula comes through Hester Panim. God is hidden in the process of Geula. It appears to be in the natural way, but it is in fact supernatural. V'nafochu, and everything is the reverse of what you think it is. When things appear negative, they're actually positive. When things appear positive, they're actually negative. It's not always within our ability to see. So let us look at these one at a time. Kima. The Talmud Yirshlmי brings an incident with Rabbi חייא הגדול and Rabbi Shimon ben Chalfta, that they were walking in Bikat Arbel in the morning, as Ayelet HaShachar, the dawn is almost breaking. Amar Rabbi חייא הגדול, Rabbi Shimon bar Chalfta. Rabbi חייא הגדול says to Rabbi Shimon bar Chalfta, Kach hi gulasan shel Israel. Thus it is the redemption of the Jewish people. Betchilah kima. In the beginning, it comes a little bit at a time. Kol ma shehi holechet, hi rabba b'holechet. As much as it goes, it grows. Just like the dawn comes slowly, so too the redemption of Israel comes slowly, step by step. Rabbi חייא then explains it by quoting phrases from the Megillah, but you have to know the rest of the pasuk to actually completely understand these points of redemption. Kach betchila, Mordechai yoshev b'sha'ar hamelach. Mordechai was sitting in the gate of the king, and the rest of the pasuk talks about the two people that were trying to assassinate the king. That's it. You see this as occurs, Mordechai turns them in, they're killed, but nothing happens to Mordechai in this. Vikach Hamanis levush v'sasus. And then we see later Haman takes the levush and the sus, the garments and the royal garments and the royal horse, and leads Mordechai around in them throughout the city. V'yeshev Mordechai el shar melech, and Mordechai returns to the gate of the king. Ve'achar kach Mordechai yoshev el shar melech, and then Mordechai returns to the gate of the king. He's returned to his point as a counselor. And then Mordechai leaves the king dressed as because Esther said who he is, and he is Mishneh Lamelech, he's the prime minister. And then the Jews had light and simcha. Note, Chazal always say that Ora zu Torah, that on Purim, we should not only learn Purim Torah, we should learn some real Torah. Everyone should take at least some time off on Purim to learn. So we see from this, first of all, that for Rabbi חייא, the paradigm of redemption was Purim itself, was Megillas Esther. And it comes step by step, not immediately quickly. So this principle is also expressed by the Vilna Gaon in the Sefer Kol HaTorah. And the Gra writes as follows: L'das mirosh, one should know from the outset, ki atchala gula kima, that the redemption comes little by little, me'at me'at. Al pi chazal, according to our rabbis, ki hi geulasan shel Yisrael. This is the redemption of the Jewish people. Kima kima ba'a ki elas hashachar. A little at a time it comes, like the dawn. Ki Hashem b'choshech Hashem orli. When I'm sitting in dark, Hashem is a light for me. Meaning I'm not aware of the light. I think I'm sitting in dark, but in fact God is lighting it for me. Holech ve'or ad nachon hayom, and it continues to brighten itself. Pasuk until the day is complete. Lechen kol pa'ula shel atchalta yesh latchil afilu b'mat. So therefore, any action to start the redemption, we have to start with a little bit. Rav Tzvi Hirsch Kalisher in his Sefer Drishat Zion writes as follows: Gulat Yisrael shenachnu cholchim la, the redemption of the Jewish people that we are all waiting for. Al yachshov hachoshev ki patom yired Hashem yisbarach shemo min hashmaim eretz lemor la'ami tza'u. Well, a person should not think, the thinker should not think that suddenly God is going to descend from heavens to the earth to tell his people to go out. Or yishlach mashicho kerega min hashamayim litkoa b'shofar gadol al nitchei Yisrael v'kabtzem Yerushalayim. Or that he is going to send his Mashiach in an instant from the heavens to blow with a great shofar to tell the scattered people of Israel to gather in Yerushalayim. V'yasu la chomas eish, they should make a wall of fire around it. Umikdash el meromim yared, and the temple will descend from the heavens. Kasher yivtiach al yedei avadav hanavim, like the prophets have guaranteed us that we will have a third temple. Lo ken korei hamaskil, not thus the educated reader. Vadai kol yehudei hanavim yiskaimu be'achris yamim. Clearly, all of the destinies of the prophets will be fulfilled in the end of days. V'lo yipol chas v'shalom davar arza, and God forbid even one word should fall to the ground. Ach lo b'mnusa nelech, but it will not be that we go quickly. V'lo b'chipazon yom echad, and not in the rush of one day. Ki me'at mi'at tavo geulas Yisrael. It is little by little that the redemption of the Jewish people comes. La'at la'at, small bit by small bit. Tatzmiach keren Yeshua will sprout the horn of redemption. Ad Yisrael asu chayil, until Israel does valorous things. V'yiskei ma'od b'achriso, and he will be very great in his end. U'bikiyum kol hiyudim ha'avtachos shel hanavim hakadoshim, and it fulfills all of the guarantees and the destiny of the whole that are prophesied by the holy prophets. Similar to this, the Malbim writes in his Haskama to Shivat Zion, Ubeikar hadavar, and in the principal matter, Devarav amitim v'kanim, your words are true and correct. V'yesh li kam harayos mipshutei haksuvim kifi pirushi, and I have several proofs of it from in my explanation of Psukim. Ki ha'geula tetzmiach le'at lat, that the redemption comes little by little. Kashachar nachon motza'o, like dawn it will be found. Holech ve'or ad nachon hayom, and it will grow and become lighter until it is like the brightness of the day. Hi yeshuv eretz Yisrael kodem bias Mashiach, and the settlement of Eretz Yisrael comes before Mashiach can come. Now, why does it have to come suddenly? Why does it have to come slowly? Why cannot be that the redemption comes suddenly? Chazal say in the Midrash Tanchuma, at the time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveals his divine presence to Israel. Einu megale alehem kol tuvaso ke'achas. He doesn't reveal everything at one time. Mipnei she'enim yocholim la'amod ba'ozo tova. Because they can't deal with so much goodness at one time. Shim yigla alehem tovaso b'pamachas imusu kulam. If he would give them all of his goodness at one time, they would all die. Like Matan Torah. When God appeared to us suddenly at the giving of the Torah, we died. The first mitzvah, we died. Second mitzvah, we died. Before the third mitzvah, we said to Moshe Rabbeinu, you receive it and give it to us. We can't deal with this. It's too much for us. When we are going to have the Geula, it is a renewed relationship that has been broken for 2,000 years from the time of Churban Bayis, that we are going to have a God. And to show why it has to happen suddenly and not quickly, Chazal give the example from Yosef. Say, ulamad mi Yosef. Go out and learn from Yosef. Shebesha shenisvada le'achav la'achar kama shanim amar lehem Yosef. When he made himself known to his brethren after many years, he said, Ani Yosef achichem. I am Yosef, your brother. V'lo yochlu echav l'nososo ki nivhalu mipanav. But his brothers couldn't answer him because they were confused before him. HaKadosh Baruch Hu al achas kama v'kama. So much more so with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that would we not be confused if he exposed us to us at 1 second? So the Medrash continues that when we re-meet God, it has to come in stages. And the Medrash is based upon some psukim, as we will see. Elamah HaKadosh Baruch Hu, say lehem. So what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu do to them? Megale lehem kima. He reveals himself to them a little bit at a time, as we see in the pasukim from Yeshayahu. Betchilah masi says Harim shenamar yasasum midbar v'tziyah. At first, he appears rejoicing on the mountains. It says the desolate mountain, desert, rejoices. Ve'achar kach v'tagel ha'arava, and after that, the plains rejoice. Ve'achar kach roach tifrach, they start to flower. Ve'achar kach kavod ha'Lebanon, the honor of the Lebanon, meaning the temple. Ve'achar kach hem yiru kavod Hashem hadar Elokeinu. They will see the honor of God, the glory of our God. There are steps that we have to go through. Without these steps, it doesn't work. We're caught. We can't go any farther until finally, at the last stage, the Medrash says, Yomer b'yomahu, when we say on that day, Hinei Elokeinu zeh, behold, this is our God. Zeh kivinu lo, this is what we hope for. V'yoshienu, and He has saved us. Zeh Hashem kivinu lo, negila v'nismacha b'shua. So, this is the God that we desired. We will be happy and rejoice in His salvation. The Zohar also learns this from a pasuk in Shirim. Mizos hanishkefa moshachar yafa kalavana barak achama ayuma knigdalos. Who is this that shines like the morning, as beautiful as the moon, bright as the sun, as great and awesome as towers? So this is the translation of the Sulam of the Zohar. Mizos hanishkefa. Who is this that looks out? Elohim Yisrael, this is Israel. Bisman shakadosh Baruch Hu yakim osam v'yotziim min hagalos. At the time when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is raising them up and bringing them out of exile. Az yiftach lehem petach or dak midak v'ketan meod. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will open for them a little hole, the finest of fine, very small. V'achar kach liftach lehem Pesach acher me'at gadol mimeno, and after that he opens a hole a little bit larger. Ad she'Kadosh Baruch Hu yiftach lehem es hasharim ha'elyonim, until HaKadosh Baruch Hu opens the highest gates. Hapsuchim la'arba ruchos olam, that are open to the 4 directions of the world. How do we understand this? It's like a person that's in the darkness. He always lived in the absolute darkness. At the time they want to give him light, at first, they poke a little hole like the size of a needle. And after that, a little bit larger. And each time a little bit more, until he has the light as it should be. And everyone asks about Israel. Who is this who's looking out like the dawn? Shachar hu shachris haboker. Shachar is the first point of the morning. Miterem or boker, v'zeu ha'or hadak midak. That is the darkness, the greatest darkness before the first light. And before there's light, and there's only a tiny little hole. Ve'achar kach yafa kalavana. And after that, she is as beautiful as the moon. Halavana ora meruba yoter mishachar. The moon has a little more light than the dawn. Ve'achar kach barakachama. And after that, bright like the sun. Asher ora chazak umeir yoser milavana. Here is the sun is lighting us up more than the moon. Ve'achar kach ayuma kenigdalos. And after that is awesome as towers. Sheperusha chazaka ba'or chazaka. This is a very bright light like it should be. Bo'urei, come in here. Ba'od shechoshech hayom ve'or mechusei. In the darkness of the day when the light is covered. Ve'aboker ba laha'ir. And the dawn is coming, when the morning is coming to light us up. Ya'ir betchilah me'at me'at. At first it's a little bit of light. Ad shemis rabei ha'or karei. Until it grows into a fitting light. Ken kasher HaKadosh Baruch Hu yitorer laha'ir l'knesset Yisrael. So too, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to appear to Israel, sholech v'titpateach, he goes and he opens a little bit at a time. Kach gam hagula hachrona. So too it will be, not only at Purim, but also in the final redemption. Hester Panim. When you look at the story of the Megillah, you could read it as completely natural occurrences, time and time again. Nothing here is special. Everything is done in the normal ways that people do things. But it's true, nonetheless, that behind everything that's happening, everything that's being shaped, everything that's being put in place, it is HaKadosh Baruch Hu that is doing this. It is, as Rav Techtel writes in Eim Smecha, that it is a miracle that is wrapped in the natural ways of things. Rav Techtel writes, Yeshuaseinu shla'atid titzmach b'derech hateva. Our redemption that in the future will sprout will be in the natural way. Ritzona lomar, that is to say, b'neis ha'melubash b'teva, a miracle that is clothed in nature. V'alken yitztarech l'zeh eit hishtalshalut hateva, and so this we will need time for nature to develop. Sheba be'at me'at v'lo b'vat achat. So it comes step by step and not at one time. When we look at the Megillah, we see a series of psukim that are almost identical, but they are the reverse of each other. For instance, Perek Tes Pasuk Aleph, B'shnei Masar Chodesh Hu Chodesh Adar Shashar Bo, in the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, on the 13th day of the month, asher hikia devar melech v'daso la'asos, the words of the king had come, b'yom asher shibru oivei ha'yudim lishlot b'hem, that it came that the enemies of the Jews were to rule on them, v'nafochu, and it was overturned, asher yishlutu ha'yudim hem b'sonehem, that the Jews were ruling over their enemies. And so too, in Pasuk Chaf Beis, ve'achodesh asher nepach lehem miyagon l'simcha, and the month that was turned for them from krechsen to happiness, ume'evel liyom tov, and from mourning to a holiday, lasos osam yemei mishteh v'simcha, to make them days of rejoicing and happiness and parties, umeshloach manos ish l'reihu matanos le'avyonim, giving gifts of food to your friends and charity to the poor. Everything was turned over. We see it. And if you look back a little bit to the beginning of the Geulah, v'nishloach svarim biyad aratzim el kol medidos hamelech lashmid larog u'lebedos kol yudim. This is Perek Gimel, Pasuk Yud Gimel, that they sent out books at the hands of the runners to all the countries of the king, to destroy, to kill, to annihilate all the Jews, mina arva ad zaken, from child to elder, nashim, taf and nashim, children and women, ushlalam lavos, and the booty whoever wants it, la'achar mikem, and later on in the Megillah, in Ches Yud Aleph, we find a slightly different take. Asher nesan hamelech liyudim, asher b'chol ir v'ir, lahakel la'amod alav sham, that the king gave to the Jews in every city to stand up for their souls, lashmid la'arog u'labed, the same phrase, to annihilate, kill, and destroy, as kol chel am b'nida hatzrim osam, all of the people and the armies, the soldiers that were giving them tzoras, taf and nashim, women and children, ushlalam lavos, and the booty is for them. You see the same thing concerning the orders of the king. In every city, every country where the word of the king went, it was a great pain for the Jews. Fasting, crying, eulogizing, sackcloth and ashes were worn by the multitude. But later on, in every province, every city, the place where the word of the king and his laws came, simcha v'sason liyudim. Not evel yom tov, not evel, right? Not mourning, but it's happiness and rejoicing. Mishteh v'yom tov, a party and a holiday. V'rabim b'amei eretz misyahadim, and many of the people gathered with them, ki nafal pachad yudim aleihim, because they were afraid of what happened to the Jews. And we see too in our times that these same types of things are happening. As the Vilna Gaon writes again in Kol HaTorah, the das mirosh, one should know from the beginning, ki b'kvos mashicha mikol tzara yotze Yeshua, that from every pain and suffering that we have, from every missile that flies toward us, salvation comes. V'Yeshua ba mitoch hatzara, and the salvation comes out of the pain and suffering itself. L'dat mirosh, one should know from the very beginning, ki Eretz Yisrael nikne b'yisurim, that Eretz Yisrael is acquired through suffering. Avol b'zeh nikne smamish, but through this it's truly acquired. It is forbidden to us to retreat in anything. If we have some difficulties along the way, some tripping, some stumbling block in the way of our service, liot betuchim, we have to believe truly. Ki davka mimenu Yaakov yivashed, is through these difficulties that Yaakov will be saved. Umin hametzer negiel l'merchavya, and from this difficulties we come to the broad places. The Ramban explains in Sefer HaGeula that we were redeemed from Egypt very quickly. It only took 410 years from the time we left Egypt until we built the Mikdash. And it was, he says, without great suffering and troubles and tribulations. And because it was so easy to build the first temple and it was so fast, therefore it didn't stand forever. However, Bayis Shlishi will be required in a more natural way, with much more suffering and take much more time. And in that way, because more was put into it, therefore it will be an eternal Mikdash. It will stand forever. There is an interesting thing. The Gemara relates about Rabbi חייא, same Rabbi חייא Rabbah that we had in the beginning, same person, that he was afraid the Torah would be forgotten from Israel. So he went out and he sowed flax, and he made from the flax traps, and he trapped deer, and he slaughtered the deer, and he fed the poor with the venison, and he made he made parchment out of the hides, and he wrote Megillot, and he taught children what the Torah from these scrolls, and then they would teach each other, and this is the way he kept Torah alive in Israel. And the Tziv asks, why did he have to do it? Why did he have to plant the flax? Why did he have to trap the deer? He could have gone out and bought cloth, right? And written and then taught the children. He said, because every part of the preparation that's done for this purpose strengthens the final act. It's something that you get instantly, has no kiyum, it has no real value over time. It's only when you put the effort into it. It's only when Klal Yisrael puts the effort over time into the pain and suffering to build up Eretz Yisrael will it be possible to build a Mikdash that stands forever. These are the things that, especially this year, we can be thinking about as we go and get ready to celebrate Purim and read the Megillah. Everyone should have a very happy, wonderful Purim.